talk a little bit more spoilery. So you get introduced in episode 2, and that's called The Secret of Spoon. That is such a wonderful, it's kind of a cold open, and it's such a wonderful, we get these vignettes of meeting these gods for the first time. It's basically one set, kind of a bottle, kind of episode, and thoughts of you're just in there, it's the slave ship. What were the thoughts about tone and how you wanted to come in with Mr. Nancy? Because as you said, it's an incredibly somber moment in history for us to get to experience, and that kind of framing and blocking and that. How, was it immediately there for you, or did you really have to work your way through figuring out what was the right tone, how big to be with him?
No, it seemed pretty straightforward to me in many ways. I mean, I'm not in the outside world, as it were. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, and the conversation about race is in no way, shape, or form new. But, when you're talking to a group of people who are frightened and they're not predisposed to want to listen to anybody really at that particular moment. Yeah. So it's obvious that yelling is not the way to go. That's generally a turn off to everybody. So I thought Mr. Nancy's, to him, this isn't new information.
Right.
To him, this is just what's going to happen. So, to be a little flippant, a little, he's not attempting to be comedic, but he does find it interesting that these ideas of stereotypes and all these other elements are really lost on this particular group.
Right.
So he's enjoying himself in that he's explaining those elements. But I also think that there's a lot of you don't know what side he stands on.
Right.
Ultimately, you don't know if he's trying to help you or not. He's a trickster god.
Yes.
And so it's about the con and how he can suck you into doing what he wants you to do.
Yes.
And in this case, he wants you to burn the ship.
It's an amazing monologue, and how much of that was right on the page? Did they let you look at it and put it in a language that felt comfortable to you, or how you wanted to present him? Tell me what that process was like for you.
That is verbatim what was written.
Oh, wow.
That is exactly what was on the page. Obviously, from the world of an actor, you take liberties with tone and color and dialect, and you move your commas and periods to places
right, yeah.
and ellipses to where you want them to be. But in terms of the words, those were the words, and I thought it was beautifully written and really, really powerful, and just needed to be brought to life in a way that hopefully people could hear it and understand it and respond to it.
Yes.
Particularly the slaves on that particular ship at that particular time.
Because it needs to be incendiary in that moment.
Yes.
It needs to, really allow them to get past the fear and want to do something in that situation.
They need to be empowered.
Exactly.
And, to give them an understanding of what they're staring down the barrel of, and how no matter what they do, race is still going to play a huge factor in their future and in their lives. And this is just the beginning of it, and it's not particularly going to get much better as we move forward.
Next 100 years,
So,
100 years, exactly.
Here are your choices, my friends.
Do you see Mr. Nancy? As you said, he's a trickster god. So he whatever his agenda is, he's going to move towards getting people to do that. But do you see him as... Does he see himself as a hero, or does he just see himself as an agent of chaos?
He's a god. He has no interest in your earthly ideas or pleasures. Mr. Nancy's interest is in what he is trying to accomplish. It is no different in my mind than stealing stories from the sky god.
Right.
Trapping these animals is what needs to happen in order to get what I want. I go trap these animals. In this particular case, I think that Mr. Nancy, as he fits into the war between the old gods and the new gods, anybody who can spin narrative is an important part of any arsenal. As we look in recent politics, the spinning of narrative was a huge part of it, no matter which side of
whatever side you're on.
You're
exactly.
on.
How much can you twist the
right? How much can you
conversation?
twist? I used to chuckle because it was so funny to listen to people talk about, Hillary Clinton, because every time she said something, all you heard was liar, 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 pants on fire with the liar. I was like, wow, she can't even say anything.
Exactly.
And as she tried to present sort of nuanced responses, she often was, hammered with this idea consistently, and that narrative stuck.